Hello, and welcome to Weirdos. My name is Kellen.
I'm Jay.
And I'm producer Rodney.
Producer Rodney. We planned that.
We did not.
We'll get it together at some point.
We won't.
We'll figure this out.
Yeah, one day. I mean, how many episodes are we in? We haven't figured it out yet. So
This is season 2, episode 11.
something like that. So, welcome to the second episode of 2022. If you joined us last week, we had Mr. Bentley Caldwell, model extraordinaire. I think it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I think it went really well.
remember, you can join us over on YouTube the week after. We don't want to do it all at once, but every other week after episode, we post a new episode. We post a video on YouTube, so be sure to head over there. Weirdos, a YouTube channel, which they can't see you doing that because it focuses on me, right?
Yeah.
He gave a thumbs up to that.
I did.
He switched it over right then.
There it is. Hey. So, again, last week's great episode. It's hard to follow that one up. It really is.
Yeah.
We have lots of notes on episodes that we were thinking about doing. I did a poll, see if anybody would mention any that we hadn't thought of, and no one mentioned anything. So good job, guys. We appreciate it. But this week, we're going to talk about technology. And part of the reason I thought about this episode was, one, is the episode of Always Sunny. They did a podcast, and one of the things they were talking about on the podcast was technology. But two, I've recently become a fan of Nashville comedian Dusty Slay.
Right.
He's hilarious. He just had a special on Netflix, and he was talking about, and now that I say this out loud, was it actually him? But it was a comedian. I think it was him. Was talking about technology. It might have been Nate Bargatze. Maybe it was Nate Bargatze. It was Nate Bargatze. I apologize. We watched Nate Bargatze on New Year's Eve because we had COVID, and that's what we did, was watch Nate Bargatze specials. But he's talking about how his age, people his age grew up with technology and without, and that's us, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
We didn't start out with any technology, and then we got it, and we ran with it. So I just thought it would be fun to sit here and talk about technology and how it's advanced in different aspects. Prime example is you're listening to a podcast right now. Podcasts haven't been around that long.
Right.
We're sitting here with a Walmart light shining on our face to make us look better. These hearing-sensitive Bluetooth headphones, these microphones. I mean, it's just these beanbag chairs. I don't think that's technically technology, but you see what I'm saying. Rodney, you're a little bit older than us, but not much.
Oh boy, here we go.
So you might have a little bit different. So I have notes. I haven't taken notes in a long time, and I took notes for this episode.
Nice.
So it makes me sound smarter. So what do we? So I think we'll start with computers. Let's start with computers because everybody. I mean, come on. Any guesses what year the first computer came out?
1981.
1981.
I'm going to say 1956.
Okay, we're way off. Let's not think about computers as we know them now.
1886.
1822.
Wow.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked by that myself. So 1822, it was called the Babbage Difference Engine, which was designed, of course, by Charles Babbage. We all know.
Yeah, of course,
CB.
yeah.
Absolutely. I do not. But I was born at that time, so.
So that was the basis of what computers started to become. So it was just like a big square, with dials, things like that. So it didn't have a screen or anything.
It was mechanical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was technically the first computer, and that blew my mind. I'm like, 1822, that's crazy.
Wow.
That is insane.
Yeah. So the first computer with a screen, a little bit later on, that was in the 40s. That was 1943. So that one looked kind of like one of the characters from Among Us, if you're familiar with Among Us.
Yeah.
So it's just like a little astronaut with a little helmet. That's what that computer looked like. It was just one piece. Had a little screen on it, just a little body. That was designed by John Mackley and J. Presper Eckhart. Sure. Obviously, again, names, household names.
Right. I have them on a T-shirt.
But, eventually things changed for computers drastically. We went from that, and then we were like, you know what, let's do one with a bigger screen. And they were like, you know what, I kind of want my screen over here, but I want everything else over here. So then they made computers that had separate screens,
Right.
and towers. And it just flew from there. That's when we got the Oregon Trail. Did you ever play the Oregon Trail, Rodney?
Floppy
Yes, I
disk.
did.
They have it on a board game now, which is not quite as fun.
Well, they also have the original Oregon Trail on a handheld video
Yes.
game thing that I have.
Yeah, I bought one of those at dirt cheap ones and sold it. But yeah, Oregon Trail, floppy disks.
Where in the world is
Giant.
Carmen Sandiego? Do you remember playing that?
Ooh.
on floppy disk?
Absolutely. And there was one I used to play in school. I think it was a math-based game where you would make monsters,
Oh wow.
and you would like the head would be something, then the body. I absolutely loved that. I'll play that right now if they had it on the phone. Remember floppy disks? Like everybody remembers floppy disks. Like you'd save your files on this giant floppy disk, put it in a shoebox under your bed.
So my mom and dad still have my brother's first computer, which was a Tandy 1000.
Wow.
And it still has the original Centipede
Wow.
floppy disk.
That's.
That startup.
Remember how long it took to download porn on those things?
I don't know what you're talking about, Jay.
It was the anxious awaiting that
Here come the boobs. Here come the boobs.
And then somebody answered
And
the
then
phone.
like an hour later,
Somebody answered the phone and messed up the download.
Oh, you
No!
got this is before the internet.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But I'm not.
We got our cart before our horse.
I'm not saying that I did experience what Kellen is talking about in the basement of my home in Mount Juliet as a child. Mom, answer the phone, hurry up. I'd always play. I would always play pool, Yahoo Pool. Did you ever do that?
Oh yeah.
And just talk shit to people and then flirt with girls. Did you ever do that at all? That part of it?
No, I did. I did play Candy. What was it? Oh god, it was a candy-based website you could go to, and it had like
Come to
Cream
my man.
Savers mini golf.
Oh,
And
Brings new meaning to Candy Crush.
Yeah,
they have a real live version of that in Gatlinburg now.
What?
Oh wow.
We went. It's like a Candy Crush themed miniature golf. I have no idea what the thing you're talking about though. It sounds
I
interesting.
can't remember the name of it, but it had a bunch of different games. But mini golf was one of the best, and it had like little swirls of like little caramel swirls. If the ball went in, it and pop it out somewhere else. It was really cool. We all played that in high school.
I used to always go in the basement and play Yahoo, and it's like a chat room, but you're playing pool against people. And, you don't know who you're talking to. I was probably talking to some guy in his 50s playing in his bathtub,
Yes, I'm a 12-year-old girl.
But you would flirt with these girls. You would flirt with these girls and then, like, fight with the dudes. And, like, you suck at pool. I'm like, you suck at pool. But, like, I remember my name. I remember my first handle. It was The Hero Will Die, which was a song title or a song lyric from Story of the Year. I always thought that was cool, and I remember people always like, the hero's definitely going to die this game. That's how I spent my evenings down in the basement playing pool and then bringing that down and then looking at boobs.
Was that the first social media?
I guess you could consider that. It was just like it's definitely an instant message thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. I remember talking to people on that.
Remember you used to get those discs at Walmart?
Yes. 5,000 hours of internet free.
Times have changed slightly. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like computers now are in our pocket.
Yep.
Graphics now are very. I think the videos on video games are more lifelike than when you actually play the video games. But like I see some NBA 2K21 or whatever it's called. I'm like, that doesn't really look like LeBron. Like he looks a little like pudding-y. Like the graphics still haven't reached that point yet.
Right.
Putting in the pudding pot.
But so we can go to video games. Like I'm not a gamer. Are you a gamer?
Yeah, some. Not
Rodney, I don't think he's a gamer.
No.
That's a safe assumption.
No
I know what
gamer.
games
Gamer.
are.
Yes.
You know what a PlayStation, a Playbox, or an X Station
Dude,
is.
I am not ancient. I'm close, but not.
I've never been a gamer. I don't know why. It's something I've always wanted to do. Like I think it would be fun if I actually gave myself the time, but I'd much rather watch a movie.
Yeah.
Or
I
see
wasted
the
enough
sun.
time already.
Well, we should circle back to that because just the technology of gaming.
We're don't talk about games now, bro.
Oh, well, let's do it now then.
That's next on
So
my
think
notes.
about. Rodney knows I had one growing up, Atari.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're talking about 1 pixel squares of a ball bouncing back and forth across the screen, and that was what, late 70s, 79.
72.
Okay.
Oh really?
So you're talking. Okay, so
I have not.
So you're talking about the 70s. So you're talking about in 30, 40 years, going on maybe 50 now, that we've got games that look almost realistic.
And VR.
But if you take that from, say, the PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 5, so the past 15 years, graphics haven't got that much better.
Yeah.
So we'll just go from 85. Super Mario Brothers comes out. That was state of the art. It was like, look how realistic that looks. It's a little man running across the screen. So from 85 to, we'll say, 2010, graphics came a long way, and now they've kind of stagnated.
Yeah.
Like we've almost got to the point to where we are at the max capability of technology before it becomes lifelike. Before you like you're playing virtual reality and it looks like you're looking at a real human being. Like there's not, I don't know that we can get there, but that blows my mind to think that just in our lifetimes, graphics for games have gone from
a ball bouncing back and forth.
to almost lifelike, but we've reached that cap.
Yeah.
Like the PlayStation 7 is going to come out and it's not going to look that much more different than the PlayStation 3, 4, 5, whatever, because we've gotten as good as it's going to get until it becomes real.
Yeah. And it's not going to play old PlayStation games, which pisses me off.
I know. It's dumb.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Well, if you get on VR, you can take the pixels actually go back a little bit because it's a lot of information, and that information just isn't happening in a square. It's happening in a three-dimensional surrounding of you. So it's got to take and I think that's the reason why the visualization hasn't progressed, is because they're trying to get the visualization. I'm sure it could, but the processing power of trying to create a 360 world around you at the same time be as crisp as this little.
No, I've played PlayStation 4, the VR on that, and they have a Iron Man trainer on there where you fly around and your mind tells you it's not real. You look at it and you can tell this is not real. It still has a cartoony look.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But your brain processes it as that is actually you. Even though that's not really trees, you're not thousands of feet above the ground flying in a suit, your brain processes it as I just turned left, and your body starts to you get motion sick.
And that's why those videos are so hilarious. Like I've seen some where people are boxing and they're just like throwing haymakers like crazy, like hitting people, hitting things, knocking
Taking
the TV off the wall.
My favorite is of a woman, and she's standing on the edge of something, and her friend, sister, whatever, just taps her on the shoulder from behind, and her arms go out, and she just face plants because in her mind she thought she was falling off of whatever she was standing.
That would 100% be me.
It's the beginning of the Matrix, but anyways.
So the first video game system was an Atari. I think we all think that it was. Like that was the first like commercial one.
Successful, yeah.
It did come out the same year, so 72. The first technically the first video gaming system was the Magnavox Odyssey, invented by Ralph Baer. Again, another household name.
Did he make the aspirin? Sorry.
Yep. Spelled a little bit different, but I bet he had something to do with it. He is considered to be the father of video games.
Wow.
So here's what the Magnavox Odyssey came with. Okay, so you buy a PlayStation now, you get like one controller and a cord and maybe a game. So this came with several non-electric accessories. Okay, so it came with dice, game cards,
Nice.
plastic tokens, scoreboards, and a sheet of stickers. First of all, you had me at a sheet of stickers. Okay. I love a good sheet of stickers.
Elementary school would not have been the same if they didn't have the Scholastic Book Fair with the sheets of sticker books.
Absolutely. So everyone has a junk drawer. It's usually in your kitchen. I have one. Some people have one in their nightstand or their dresser. And one of mine is I have socks, underwear, and then I have shorts, and then I have one more drawer that belongs to me, and it's my junk drawers where I put like pens, my hearing aids, things like that. I've cleaned it out recently, and I had a box in there, and it had all kinds of all these stickers I've collected over the years, including like OG Pokemon stickers that were like in books. I had Rugrat stickers.
Wow.
Yeah, I had some really they were round, had like a genie and gargoyles on them. I have no idea where they're from. Did I throw them away? Absolutely not. Why would I do that? But yeah, I love a good sheet of stickers. 72 Pong. I think Pong is still incredibly popular because there's about 1,000 games on your phone that is basically Pong.
Yeah.
Block breakers and all those. That's Pong,
Yeah.
But the Atari as we know it came out in 77. So I think we said 72 earlier, but 77 is when the Atari as we know it with all the games
2600.
Yeah, with Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, Frogger, Pac-Man. What was the one where you were on a bicycle?
Oh,
Paperboy, was that on Atari?
That was a Nintendo.
That was Nintendo. What about was it Joe, the guy swinging from the vines?
Oh,
Pitfall.
yeah.
Pitfall.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it.
Pitfall, I think they've done that a couple times on other systems.
They have.
But 1983, we got Nintendo, which I think changed everything.
Yeah.
1,000%.
I mean, you can't go anywhere without seeing Mario. People are upset that they're making a movie and Chris Pratt is going to voice Mario.
What?
People hate Chris Pratt because vocal about his
It's,
political beliefs.
I've said it on another episode, but I think it's also the Dan Cook effect. He got too big too fast.
Yeah.
He went from being lovable goof on Parks and Rec to being the biggest A-list
Let me
celebrity
tell
in
you something right
Hollywood.
now. Put Chris Pratt in any movie and I'll watch it.
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic. I watched The Tomorrow War recently, which is a sci-fi movie.
It's
where-
I've
Have
seen
you seen
it.
it?
That's really
He's
good.
fantastic in that.
He's very good.
And because he's buff now, but he's also very funny.
He's funny. He's likable.
Him and Ryan Reynolds in a buddy cop movie.
Oh my God! Please, if you made that movie, yeah.
Their banter would be
Oh,
off
God.
the charts.
We just watched Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock
Yeah.
and Gal Gadot, and that was good too. But like Ryan Reynolds with Chris Pratt, forget. I mean, it was
That scene in the movie where they go get Thor at Endgame, I think it's Endgame, and he's like, "Oh, I am not talking like," he's actually talking like Thor.
yeah.
He's talking like me. I just love his freaking humor in that way.
Well, and what people forget is he is a nice dude. Like if you look up stories of Chris Pratt generosity, he is a very good person. But because of his political ideology and religious ideology, people want him
That's because
burn him
people
at
are
stake.
stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, people are stupid. Chris Pratt's American treasure. I don't care what anybody says.
Always welcome on our show.
Always welcome. Come on anytime, Chris.
Chris Pratt, I swear to God, if you show up, I will let you play my drums.
He can sing 5,000 Candles in a Wind.
Oh my god, I might actually cry.
I mean, don't.
Bye bye, little Sebastian. So after Nintendo, we got Super Nintendo, Sega, Dreamcast, we got Game Boys, Game Cubes, PlayStations, Xbox, Wii's, Switch, and everything in between. I had a Nintendo. If you guys have a Nintendo,
2 games.
just 2 games.
Well, the 2 games I cared about, I actually VHS filmed me beating Mario.
Wow.
The first one.
Do you own this? Is it here in this house?
I wish,
Damn it.
I'm sure
Bonus feature of this episode.
First game
America's
console.
Funniest Home Videos was probably filmed over it.
You're such a bore, Rodney.
I hit your camera,
Some
sir.
video. I'm fine.
Okay.
He's
I
fine.
look good.
Fine.
I never had the Nintendo. My cousin had the Nintendo with several games that I used to play at his house. But the first console I had was a Sega Genesis, and you've seen the video of me getting that.
Yes, I had a Nintendo. I didn't have a Super Nintendo, but I had a friend who did, and they had the best games. Super Nintendo had the best games.
They did.
And that's when they had like the Hulk game and like Carnage and like all these Marvel like comic book based games.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
The
love these
X-Men
games.
game where you could
I had
swap
the X-Men
between
game on Sega. So I had a Sega too. Humble brag. I had a Nintendo. And I didn't have a Super Nintendo, but I had a Sega, and where you could be Nightcrawler, Cyclops,
Yeah.
Wolverine, or Storm. Was
Yeah,
Storm?
I think so. I remember Nightcrawler and Wolverine because
I would always get to Juggernaut. Was always the first. Juggernaut was the first villain, right? And I could always make it to Magneto, and I could never get past Magneto. And I also had Charles Barkley's basketball on that, which was fantastic.
What about NBA Jams?
That's
on
terrible.
Sega?
That's
I didn't have
terrible.
NBA Jam, but I had Charles Barkley's like Street Ball or something like that. Terrible. Oh no, Craig.
I used to love on Sega Evander.
No one's gonna get that, but Krista. Oh no, Craig! Now they're not gonna come on the show. So now she's listening to this, and she can comment on Shuffle, and she'll know what that's from. But I never had a Dreamcast. I had a Game Boy. Game Boy used to have all the accessories. Like the screen was dark, or too small, so you had like a magnifier. You have headphones. They had a printer at one point.
Yeah.
I had all that.
What was it again?
Game Boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you had the original Game Boy.
Yeah.
The two-tone green screen.
Yeah.
It's like a big chunk of
I had
gray.
Mortal Kombat.
I
I beat that
Mortal Kombat
game.
on Sega.
Yeah. I love Mortal Kombat.
I have a Nintendo DS now that I bought at McKay's that I love, and I have the Simpsons game.
Nice.
I play that all the time. Mario, like it's just nostalgia. Like I go to McKay's and sell stuff, and sometimes it's a $100 store crap. I'm like, oh cool, and I'm like, I could buy a Nintendo.
I think so. I went and bought. There's a game store in Rivergate that has old school games.
Game
and
Trader?
And I bought a Sega, and I bought Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter Tournament Edition, NBA Jams, and
Razzle dazzle.
Joe Montana football. Joe Montana 93 football. I think 93. But the game that I wanted, it was my favorite game on the Sega, was Evander Holyfield Real Deal Boxing.
Oh.
And there was a code, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like if you named your character the Hulk or something like the Beast, something like that, your character would turn green and would have maxed stats, and you could just destroy everybody. And I thought I was the coolest person, just waylaying Evander Holyfield with a green monster.
Do you like playing the Sega games now?
Yeah.
So, excuse me. We
NBA
bought,
Jam still holds up. That game is still fantastic.
1,000%, dude.
And Street Fighter. The Street Fighter games.
Yeah, but those are a little bit different. But I mean, like, so we bought a PlayStation that had games built into it, and like Lion King and Aladdin, those impossible to beat games.
I beat Aladdin so many times.
Humble brag.
Not a humble brag.
Wow.
Brag. Because
Ooh,
we
all
got
the brags.
we got a arcade machine at work, and it has Aladdin, but it's the Sega Aladdin, not the SNES Aladdin. There were two different games.
Yeah.
Same premise, but the levels were different. But yeah, I spent half an afternoon at work working, and when I had downtime because I was off the clock, I beat Aladdin on that.
So,
Playing them now is just a little too slow paced for me. I think that's part of it.
Well, you're used to a 3D world now. I mean, the games now you can go any direction, like I play on my phone. I got a Backbone, which is a mobile console controller. You slide it open, your phone sits in it, closes, and it has Call of Duty that's just as good as PlayStation 3 graphics. And it's a whole world. You can go every direction. Super Nintendo, Sega, regular Nintendo, even up until probably Nintendo 64.
like Grand Theft Auto,
Mario
it's got like the
64?
maps.
Yeah, you couldn't go omnidirectional. It was left to right all day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
That was the best you could do. And some games wouldn't even let you go back to the left.
What about Super Mario? Not Super Mario, but Super Nintendo. So when it still wasn't a 3D world, but it had dimensions. So the back started moving, and then I thought that was the greatest thing ever.
Kind of like Toe Jam and Earl on Sega
yeah.
Genesis.
Yeah.
It was still
Battletoads.
two-dimensional, but they gave a feeling of
Sense of depth. Yeah.
three-dimensional depth.
Yeah.
By having the characters vertically go up. So
Yeah.
even though you weren't technically leaving that two-dimensional plane, it felt like you were because you weren't just going left or right anymore. You were going up and down diagonally.
And I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I have something stuck in my throat. I'm working through it. I actually made a tear come down my neck.
Wow.
But yeah,
What are those like?
Kellen's never
Tears.
cried before.
You're so empathyless.
I think the first game I ever beat, one was that was really tough with on regular Nintendo was the Ninja Turtles game. Remember that one?
Yes,
Yeah,
I could never get past whatever the level after the dam was. I could beat the dam, the bomb part. I could beat that, and then the next after that, I had no idea where to go or what to do, and I would just die.
I honestly think the first game I ever beat was Uncharted on PlayStation 2 or 3, which is very still new.
Yeah.
Making a movie of it with Tom Holland. But
February.
I never picked up gaming. I never did World of Warcraft. I never did any of that.
Well, we did pick up gaming. Like I'm sitting here just thinking about, like, I didn't game. There's like Contra. I remember. I mean, just I'd go to my friend's house and NBA jams, and then Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, just freaking. We just gamed at a different time.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
and,
true.
And gaming now is more social.
Yeah.
Like people don't game; they don't sit in their room and just play by themselves. Even
Cuss
if
out
they're playing,
13-year-old kids.
Sure. Like like Mario games now. Mario Maker 2. I watch a lot of videos of that on YouTube. And even though you're playing by yourself, you're playing levels that people around the world created.
Yeah.
So there's a social aspect, especially with like the shooting games, first-person shooters and stuff like that. Is you're not playing alone. You're playing with friends that you've made or people that you've never met, and it's like a social network that has gaming. The closest thing we had growing up, if anybody remembers, because I know you both will, because it was probably one of the greatest games ever created, was GoldenEye for Nintendo 64. Was the first multiplayer game where you would really play with people. Like you had the 4 ports on the front of the Nintendo 64, you would all plug in, or you would have the LAN parties where you would bring your own console, hook them up, and then people would play together. But it still required you to have people come over. Games now, you don't have to have anybody come over to play with somebody. You can play with a kid in Japan from your living room in Middle Tennessee. So it's easier to become a gamer in that environment because, especially with the way we've gotten as a society where we're more closed off, we're more introverted in our social introverted in our social interactions.
I was just gonna let that go, but
I was just wanting to hang on to it.
So you can be extroverted in a digital world, so it becomes more of your life now. Like for us, games were just something to play for fun. Plus, our parents were, no, got to cut it off, and they would cut it off.
Yeah.
So now parents are like, you got to cut it off, and you're like, shut up, mom. I'm like, all right, one more
making
hour.
a YouTube video, making money.
One more hour. Yeah,
I'm on Twitch.
People can make money at it now.
Crazy. So I I've never been the kind of person to want to watch that stuff. It's never.
Yeah.
I love it. I watch it
My
every
kids.
night. at bedtime.
Oh, geez.
Well, James from Shay's
Oh,
Crypticology.
yeah.
He does it, and I actually watched it. Damn it! I actually watched it and I loved it.
Yeah, it's like so. If you want to watch, shout out, Panga is a player, a Mario player. His commentary is hilarious while he plays. DGR is another content creator that plays Mario. They all play Mario Maker 2.
Mm-hmm.
They all do different kinds of variations of that game. But DGR, hilarious. The commentary is what gets me to watch it. I'm not watching it because now, granted, the ones I'm naming, Pangea, I think is his full name, and Ryukar are two of some of the best Mario players in the world. So their gameplay is phenomenal. And then you add
So Mario as in like Mario Kart.
this is Mario Maker 2. What Mario Maker 2 and Mario Maker 1 were people can upload a video that they create. The only caveat is they have to be able to beat their own level for it to be uploaded. You can't upload a level that can't be beat.
Yeah.
So you create a level, you get all the tools to make any style of Mario from Super Mario Brothers to Wii U, Super Mario, whatever.
Yeah.
And you pick your Mario, you pick whatever the layout's going to be, the pipes, whatever. You build it, and then people from around the world can play it. So it's not a Mario game where it has level 1 to level 8, you're done, beat it, go home. It's constantly evolving, people making hard levels, easy levels, whatever. So it's watching these people play these levels that random
That's
people
what
have created.
James does, and
And
it's
then
just
they
him
talk,
cussing.
and it's hilarious. The commentary is what gets me. That's what I watch for the
Yeah,
the
it's
commentary.
some of them look impossible. So you have to learn and pay attention. Like, okay, so when I die here, I need to do this instead of this. And you have to
Yeah.
constantly adapt. I mean, it's fun. It is fun to watch. I think this thing's called Nerd Stillery.
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
that.
It's fun to watch. I never thought I would sit down and watch that, but it was. I watched it a couple times, and I comment. I'm like, dude, I never watch these things, but I was cracking up because he was just dying and cussing. He's like, "What is going on?"
And they've made a platform for just the struggle of playing a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I used to get pissed off and throw something, and it was just me in a room. And now you get to see people, I guess, see that frustration. So maybe that's the hilariousness of it.
Well, and games, they're harder now, but they're easier, if that makes sense. They're harder because there's more detail, more everything to it. But games from back when we were younger were sometimes impossible. Like, how did anybody beat Zelda the first time?
Right.
With all the secret bushes and rocks that you have to blow up and patterns and things that you have to... It's a puzzle game within a game. It was.
And did J.R.R. Tolkien make this up, by the way? I mean, like, it's different. I mean, seriously.
I mean, it's just...
It was a bunch.
And I think it was one of the first games that had a battery in it for save files, because that's how detailed and large the game was and hard to beat. So the game itself saved your progress.
Yeah.
But like, think about what an accomplishment it was to beat Mario, the first Mario.
Yeah.
You record it, and then your family recorded over it.
With
Yeah.
One of the games that stands out to me the most was from the original PlayStation. There's two. One, Crash Bandicoot. I absolutely
Bandicoot was
love
great.
Crash Bandicoot. It's Mario, but cooler. But well, not cooler, but you know. And Silent Hill.
oh,
I remember Silent Hill because I would play that in my bedroom by myself, and that's when we had
Nope.
was it DualShock controllers.
Yeah.
So there was one part, and I think it was the very beginning because I didn't play very often. It might have even been a demo, back when they gave demo discs. But you're going down an alley, and your controller starts vibrating like a heartbeat. And I'm like, oh. And then these little creatures come out with knives and start stabbing you. And you can't do anything because that's when it transitions into a video, but you don't realize that. I'm like, what's going on? Turn on the light real quick, turn it off. Like that's always stuck with me. That, you know, a video game can give you that kind of an experience.
Yeah. I can't do jump scares.
Oh.
Like when I say, you know, like even just then, like I felt my adrenaline gland go. You know when somebody pushes you when you're really close to the edge, you're like that runs through you. There is a video. I guess when they first come up with YouTube,
2006.
right? So long ago, of this car going on the road. It was in the story behind us. It was a car commercial, and they saw the ghost in the car commercial. And it was some foreign country's like Jolt Juice or whatever. Like, remember Jolt Cola?
Yeah. Yep.
Here's a rabbit trail. No, we're going back the other way. But that terrified me. Because I was just like, oh, intense, looking for this ghost. I was looking for the shadow. Look really closely. Like, get really close to the screen, and then bam, And I'm like, I mean, it was just, it was awful.
I remember that.
I hate everything about it. So, like, Five Nights at Freddy's, all that stuff, can't do it.
So we'll get back to regular technology now that we've had the game segment. But you were talking about Silent Hill, and there was a game. Do you remember the game Manhunt?
Yes. I remember the cover and everything.
I remember playing that, and that was one of the most disturbed.
But also in Hollywood Video.
It was so much fun, though. As disturbing as that, you could cut somebody's head off. There was 3 ways to kill somebody in that game, like humane death, all the way up to like extreme violence, where you like grab them from behind, rip their head back, and start sawing their head off. And then you could carry around their head and use it as a diversion. If people started getting close to you, you could hide in the shadows and chuck the head, and they'd be like, "Oh, what's that?" And they would go run to crap. And then you would stick up behind them and take their heads off.
And I don't know why they thought
that was PlayStation 2.
Violence in America. That's absurd.
That was PlayStation 2, by the way. So that was a while ago that game came out.
You talk about your rabbit trail. I have one from the last episode that we're going to talk about later. I'm not going to talk about on here. I meant to say it at the end and I didn't, and it's been running through my head, so we'll talk about that later. But video games now, we don't have to have a PlayStation. We don't have to have a TV. It's in our pocket.
Yeah.
Computers are in our pocket. First cell phone, 1979.
Wow.
Nippon Telegraph and Telephone.
Is the huge battery pack in the car?
India.
Japan.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that would have been
so
the safe
much
guess.
sense.
Oh,
Does everybody remember their first phone?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Mine was a Nokia, the brick.
Nice.
That Nokia phone debuted in 1987. I got mine late 90s and played Snake on that bad boy all the time. What was your first phone, Rodney?
Nokia 9800.
I don't know. Why do you remember that part of it?
Because I didn't realize that it wasn't like, if it was a second, it was a minute. And I didn't get that part of the conversation when the lady at Core Wireless was telling me. And I was like, cool. So I had a $635 first phone bill.
Wow. I think mine was a Nokia 3000 or something. I had a very expensive phone bill when I was with Verizon on my parents' account. And I'm like, there's no way. So I swore I would never have Verizon again. What was your first phone, Kay? I called you Kay.
I think it was a Magnavox.
Magnavox.
Yeah, it was like a long phone with an antenna that you'd pull out.
Yeah.
And then the one right after that was a Sony Ericsson from Singular.
I think I had a Sony Ericsson. Was that a square one?
The one that I had kind of was shaped like a peanut.
Okay.
It was when they started, because I didn't have like early cell phones. I got one in 2001 when I graduated. It was my first cell phone on T-Mobile. And then I got the Singular service and got a Singular phone. It was when they started having the replacement covers where you could pop the face and the back off and replace them with different aftermarket.
Singular.
Yeah. I still have.
Now, right?
AT&T bought Singular. And I still have the very first iTunes compatible phone.
Wow.
Which was a Sony Ericsson that had iTunes built into it. You could hook it up to your computer and put the songs on it, and it had 2 speakers on the side that had lights, and you could change the light pattern, and it would flash with the music.
That's
I thought I was the coolest thing
Ahead
ever.
of your time.
And then I had another phone that had an attachable camera. This is before cameras were built into the phone.
Wait, what?
It was I think it was a Sony Ericsson, and it had a aftermarket camera that you would stick into the bottom of the phone, and it was a 1.2 megapixel camera.
It's so
Clear as
clear.
day.
I can
You
see
remember
how clear it is.
That used to be clear.
Oh,
That's
God.
what's crazy, too.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
another evolution in technology we've had is the pictures
Yeah.
back then used to be clear.
Well, I mean, everybody was amazed. Like, I would plug that in, and I would take a picture and then show them, and be like, that's amazing.
I don't know what kind of phone it was, but I had one where the camera was in the middle of the phone. It was a flip phone. So when you opened up the flip phone, it actually toggled. Like you could
I remember those, yeah.
and aim the camera away or aim the camera back to you. So you could do a selfie or the other way.
We've come a long way since the Zach Morris phone,
Jeez.
where it was like this big, had a giant antenna.
Speaking of technology, Zach Morris, everyone, was everyone's idol because that dude could do no wrong.
Nope, he could not. But if you go back, watch Zach Morris's Trash. Those videos.
Oh,
Have you
no.
seen those?
No, I have not.
Oh my
Zach
God.
Morris is trash.
This guy goes back and he breaks down episodes of Saved by the Bell where Zach Morris was a truly terrible person.
Yeah.
No way.
And he was. We didn't think about it. They were like, Zach's so cool.
I
He was
know.
not cool. He was a dick.
To everybody. Lisa,
Everyone.
Everybody.
Lisa, Screech.
Homework tonight.
Kelly.
You watch Google or get on
AC
YouTube and
Slater.
Zach Morris is trash and just watch some of those. They're so funny. And that was like, Zach Morris is trash.
They are hilarious.
Like the theme song. When cell phones first came out, they were gigantic, and then they wanted them small. So I remember, it's the one I thought was a Sony Ericsson, but it must not have been. It was like this big. I mean, it was like half of a candy bar,
Yeah.
and that's what everybody wanted because it was so small. You know, like it fits right in your pocket. It's so small.
Well, they even got smaller. They had like lipstick phones.
Yeah.
That were like look the size of a lipstick thing.
Like Austin Powers.
Yeah. And then
Zoolander.
and then iPhone
Zoolander,
came out,
yeah.
and all of a sudden, small wasn't in anymore.
Yeah, like they got so small, and then the technology evolved and changed. And you're like, oh, I can play a game on here. That's cool. Oh, I can FaceTime on here. That's cool. I need a bigger screen.
Yeah.
And we went bigger and bigger.
Back
Honest
the
to
other way.
God, if you made a phone out of an iPad, I would use that. Just hold it up.
I would love to see the belt clip.
They will not make belt clips. It's a backpack.
Yeah. I mean, we can do everything on our phones. Like,
Ching.
you think back, 60, 70 years ago, that you could not imagine this is where, except the time travelers that we see in those photos.
My neighbor
With
still had a
iPhones.
rotary phone.
A what?
Growing up, my neighbor still
Yeah.
had a rotary phone, so I remember using
Yeah.
a rotary
Yeah,
phone.
I did too. My grandmother bought a car one time that had a car phone. She never activated it, but I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But it's also very dangerous. But it had the buttons on the top, and they lit up. And I would
Yeah.
always play within the car while we're listening to the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack on cassette tape.
There's a freaking soundtrack.
Oh my God, that soundtrack is fantastic. Dumb and Dumber soundtrack is
More
one of the
homework.
best soundtracks
Got it.
on the planet. I swear to you.
Wow.
It's got Butthole Surfers.
Noted.
Ooh.
Who did Red Right Hand? Nick Cave. I don't think it's his rendition of it. But anyways, Google that soundtrack. Dumb and Dumber soundtrack. And then you're like, Jay, that is a great soundtrack. I'm like, I know. But yeah, like, I would never imagine we have a computer in our pocket now. I can do anything. I use it today to get me to Rodney's house because I never remember how to get here. I remember most of it, but I'm like, I just want to be safe, I use it today to make a phone call. We can FaceTime.
It looks different with all the snow.
Yeah, we're recording a podcast
Yeah.
on our phones to an app that's on our phone. Like it's insane what we can do with these things, and
Yeah.
we probably don't even unlock half its potential with what we use it for.
No,
Right.
It's crazy.
It's like our brains.
And now, like if you leave the house and you feel your pocket, you don't feel it. You have that little sinking feeling in your chest.
Adam Sandler did that song on his new special, Phone Wallet Keys.
Really?
Oh wow.
Phone
has a new
wallet
special?
keys. Phone
Wallet.
wallet keys.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's Netflix special. Yeah, but I mean, phone's number one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, wallet's number one. Phones too.
No,
Oh, you can't get anywhere with your keys.
But
though.
see,
Which
you
one
can-
is number one?
because I
use
can
your-
pay for everything with my phone.
Yeah, you can use your
Oh,
phone to
that's true.
pay for stuff.
But you can't go anywhere without your keys.
I can Uber.
Here's the thing: cars actually have apps on their phone. If you don't have your keys, your phone is your fob.
I stand corrected. Technology rules over money.
See, that's the reason why the episode is what it is.
It's true. We'll start to wrap things up a little bit, but other technology we don't think about. I think about it because they're in my head. Is like medical technology has advanced so far
Ooh.
too.
Oh wow.
I have 2 hearing aids, and like completely changed my life having hearing aids because I couldn't hear. It's hereditary. My dad can't hear. His sister can't hear, and I would always put it off. But when I put them in, like life changing.
Yeah.
I can hear everything. Like I hear you talking shit now. You can't talk shit about me anymore because I can hear it. You can't whisper, Jay's such a dig. I'm like, I heard it. I heard that. You're absolutely right. But now I know you're saying it. Pacemakers, like everything, surgery. Robots do surgery now.
Yeah.
We don't. You can't. I don't have time to get into
You can have
artificial intelligence.
doctors sitting in their office using the Da Vinci, whatever that is,
Yeah.
and they can control it from their office.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
But even with all this technology, even with the computer in our pocket, a robot doing our surgery, we still can't make a damn cough syrup that tastes good. What does that say about us as a people?
Yeah.
Where our priorities lie?
Yeah, that's a
Give
good
me a
point.
good tasting cough syrup and give me my old Zach Morris phone, Give me the old Nokia back. I bought stock in Nokia, by the way.
I mean, some people like the taste of robotism. I'm not sure.
Yeah, people who like to robo-trip. I had a friend who did that. He drank like a whole bottle, woke up, thought his girlfriend was dead in the bed, and left the house and was roaming the streets.
Wow.
Yeah, don't abuse cough syrup, kids.
On that test us.
It sounds fun. Right?
Syrup.
You ever watched the Sarah Silverman program?
I did.
I think the first or second episode was where she drank like all the cough syrup and then went on this magical adventure. And she's like flying in her car, and Loch Ness Monster was like, "Hi, Mr. Monster." She's like, "Hi, Sarah." Like cough syrup's no joke. I've drank too much before, and like it's nice.
Well, you know what one of the new things is?
What?
Mucinex DM.
That's
People will
I
take
have some of that at home right
people
now.
will take multiple tabs, like 5-6 tabs of Mucinex DM, and they will hallucinate. Problem is it dries you out, causes all the fluid to come out of your body, and it fucks with your heart rate.
So you're saying don't do it?
Don't do it, no, because your pulse rate will become weak and thready, and you'll die.
Wow, I've always been scared. We could do a whole episode on drugs. I'm scared to do drugs, and even like over the counter stuff. It is what was it? Sudafed. You have to buy behind the counter now.
What's good? They use it to make meth.
Yeah, and we went. Some places still have it out. But when we went to my mom's cabin for Christmas up in Gatlinburg, where there's a lot of meth there. We went to Walgreens.
The M&Ms of the mountains, meth and moonshine.
The M&Ms.
I was looking around CVS for 10 minutes, and I could not find Sudafed. I could not even find. Sometimes they have a little card like come see us.
Yeah.
So I go to the pharmacy, and they finally look at me like, "Am I just missing Sudafed? It's behind the counter." Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I need some for my meth, please. Like, can I have some? It's just crazy.
They take your ID. They scan your ID.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to do that for all
Everything.
medicines now, which is crazy. I'm like, do I look like I'm going to go home and make meth? Look at my tooth. Like,
Because before you know it, people are going to be able to figure out how to like ibuprofen or aspirin and do something with it crazy.
Yeah.
Mix it with like Coca-Cola, not Coke, but it's.
I already crushed up and snorted because it's my body faster. But.
You just buy BC powder. Cut out the middleman.
Well, BC powder stings when it gets in your nose. I've gotten that in my nose before by accident. I swear to God, it was by accident. BC powder.
Oh God!
Because it tastes terrible, but it works so well. So I would like tip it up, and then like I would breathe in, and it would go up my nose. I'm like, I'm dying.
Speaking of meth, I told you my meth story, right?
No.
But you will right now.
Yes.
So when I worked at
Technology.
as a nurse at the jail, had an inmate that was explaining to us the process behind making shake and bake meth. So you need a 2-liter and a 20-ounce bottle. He told us all the stuff that you put in the 2-liter, and then you run a tube from the 2-liter to the 20-ounce bottle. But first, you have to shake the 2-liter. That gets all the stuff bubbling and all the reactions to happen that causes it's kind of like making moonshine, distilling moonshine. All the stuff that comes up that's liquid, it goes through as a gas, and then it solidifies in the other bottle, and that's your crystal meth. But he was explaining to us, and he said one of the funniest things any inmate ever said to me is he said, now, when you shake that bottle, you got to make sure that you loosen the cap a little bit, let a little bit of that air out, close it back up, because it'll explode. He said, that's why I always did it in the yard, because I didn't want it blown up in the house. I'm like, but you're holding it. What does it matter if you blow yourself up in your house or are you worried about the resale value of your double wide? Because you're going to be dead either way.
The resale value of the double wide.
Did you take notes on how to do it?
I did not. All I remember is the strip from a lithium battery.
Whoa.
Which how somebody that was high as a kite figured out that they could take the strip out of a
absolutely.
lithium battery.
It was somebody in a lab
who stuff and get high.
So,
I don't know.
This is not technology
at all.
But one more
lithium
thing
batteries
are
technology.
I texted it to you, but I didn't text it to you. So the other night we went to a Mexican restaurant in Hermitage, and we sit at the table, and there's something under my foot, and I'm like, someone's left their umbrella. So I'm like, I see it, and it's a purse. So, well, it's not even a purse; it's just like a little bag,
clutch.
Yeah, thanks.
You're so
I'm like,
bougie.
I'm going to open it up. Lindsay's not aware of this at the time. I'm like, I'm going to open this up, see if there's any money. If there's money, I'm going to take this money out. And Lindsay would be like, don't take that money out, but I didn't want her to know. So I unzip it, and I'm like, oh, there's a needle. Oh, there's a crack pipe, and I zip it back up. And I'm like, someone had left their drug stash.
Was that a Mexican restaurant on Dixon Road?
You would think. My favorite restaurant Mexican restaurant at the moment is on Dickerson Pike. I don't know the name of it. I know the building's yellow, and they have carne asada fries, and they're delightful. But anyways, this is a bag of drugs, and like Lynn's like, how do you know it's just not like a bowl they smoke weed out of? I'm like, I know the difference, Lindsay. I've watched Intervention. Okay, I know the difference. I've never seen a crack pipe before. That's the first time. I've never seen a syringe in that capacity before.
Right.
And then I'm like, I'm glad I didn't dig for money because I would have been injected with something. But the waiter came. I'm like, someone left their bag. He's like, okay. I'm like, there's a crack pipe in there, by the way. He's like, I probably know whose it is. And I'm like, okay. And he goes and takes it up to the front. And like when we checked out, I was looking for him. I'm like, where'd they put that? I'm like, somebody that works here, like 100%. I'm like, I'm gonna keep a stash here. And what's funny is when I handed it to him, taking it up front, here comes a cop. And I watched that cop the whole time. Also, the whole time I watched everyone who came in that restaurant. I watched. I'm like, someone's gonna come in looking for that bag. I'm like, it was in that seat right there. Where is it? Where is it? So like every time the door would open, I'm like, just to look. I have my keys in my hand between my fingers, in case I had to fight my way out of this Mexican restaurant.
I see how your brain works now. And it is absolutely amazing.
That's one way to put it. That's a nice way to put it.
Oh, it's a very nice way to put it. But you're sitting like having dinner with your wife, and you're just like looking at the door, like, "Where's this crack addict? Where's this crack addict?"
Well, I told her, I'm like, I just want you to know, I got us covered. If someone comes in looking all high and looking for a stash,
we're gonna make some money tonight.
I'm like, it was her. It was her. Chivalry is not dead, ladies and gentlemen.
She stole your pipe.
Speaking of technology, they have a bell on the door, so whenever someone came in, I knew.
Oh my god! It's like teaching a dog for like a treat. You're like, ding.
Pavlov's drug addict. Ding, 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 ding. Mouth salivates for some crack. All right.
Technology.
This was an episode on technology. Thank you guys for listening and God, for sticking through with this.
Whatever that was.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Remember, you can go over to YouTube, Weirdos, a YouTube channel, and you can watch our fun videos we have. If you have any challenges you want us to do, let us know. We want to do some challenges that don't involve us being on one foot and me falling and hurting myself further than I've already hurt myself. We're on all the social medias, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Yeah. MySpace, not yet.
MySpace. I don't know my login to MySpace anymore, but I want it because there were some choice nugs there, like picture-wise. Like, I wish I still had those. But I can't even find myself anymore. They probably like purged it at some point.
I'm sure. When JT bought it, Justin Timberlake, when he bought MySpace.
But what's the other one? The new one?
Shuffle.
Shuffle's a new one where you can comment on the actual what's being said at the time, and then Kellen will comment back with you. I do not do that. Kellen does that.
I do. I love it so much. I want all the interaction. So please get on, download Shuffle and listen to our podcast there, because I absolutely want to interact with people. It cracks me up because I don't remember what we talked about, and then somebody will make a comment it's like 13:08, and I'm like, oh, what did we say? And then I click on it, and I'm like, oh my god, we are funny.
That's perfect. Like, and that's true, because when we record like a couple episodes at a time, and I go back to post one, I'm having to do the description. I'm like, oh shit.
What happened here?
I better listen. I'll just turn it on for a second, because I'll be honest, I don't really listen to us because I hate my voice.
We talked about that before.
Yeah, so I go to halfway through. I'm like, cell phones. Okay, that was the technology episode. Okay, I'm good.
And I do all the video editing, so I have to watch every episode.
God, I hope you don't fast forward to the end of it to try to figure this one out.
Okay. We were talking about
meth. Did we do a PSA on drugs?
Well, if we do an episode on drugs, we can bring my neighbor over. I'm sure he knows a thing or two.
Are we doing the Delta 8 thing?
I thought about this. I would like to do a Delta 8 episode where we each take Delta 8. The problem is we're going to have to sleep here.
Okay.
Or someone's going to, or our wives are going to have to take us home.
Okay.
Because Delta 8 is no joke.
Your
Or we could do it from our phones in our individual homes. But I think it would be more fun in person.
Absolutely.
Where we can
please.
feed off one another. Have you done Delta 8 before?
No.
Oh, my God. Maybe we just do one and we pretend to take it. Just give it to Rodney.
I can hear you.
I'm freaking out, man. You are freaking out, man. I'm like, yeah, these are all Delta 8 gummies, and we pop a Sour Patch Kid in. I'm so high right now. But Delta 8's great. It's legal. I don't know why. So the one I had originally was called Koi, and it was fantastic. The one, when I went back to get more, they were out of it. He's like, well, you got this house one. And I'm like, so I took it, and it tastes worse, and it's not quite the same feeling. So I'll have to buy whenever I can find the koi ones again. We'll figure out a way to do a Delta 8 episode, which may just be us laughing and eating chips and bagels and
That'll be
peanut
the
butter
episode I
cereal.
will need to edit terribly.
No, just let it go. Free bought. All right. Again, thank you for listening. This is what we do. We just talk.
Yeah, and have a good time doing
It's
it.
really good conversation.
Maybe we should
so
rename the
don't be-
episode from technology to
Definitely different
video
this
games.
week from last week. But anyways, I'm Jay.
I'm Kellen.
And I'm a producer, Rodney.
And until next time, keep it
Weird.